Apologies, everybody, for that faffing around that you probably just had. I just put two different lives on and thought that I wasn't live because normally the camera is showing me that I'm live. Okay, but then when I played it back, I realised that you can see me. So, um, welcome to today's live. I hope you enjoy this conversation about burnout and how to look after ourselves, how to avoid burnout, what that looks like, what we can do about it, and then I have some resources to show you that I make myself that might help you in kind of engaging with the more positive aspects of things. So if you are in the chat and you don't mind letting me know, that would be amazing because, as I say, normally I have a camera looking at me, which is why I've cancelled this live twice, thinking I'm not live, but of course I know I am. So yeah, so we're looking at what can happen to adopters, foster carers, any professionals working with children with childhood trauma, and how difficult it is to recognise when we have it, how difficult it is to deal with it, and to know kind of the route out to take. So the first thing to say is for a lot of people that think about adoption, especially not so much foster care, they are thinking in terms of that it's a lovely thing to do. The children need, as people often put it, a forever home, and that as a result of that, it's going to be lovely. It's going to be great. And often in films, it's portrayed as something maybe lovely. In some films, it's portrayed as a child being taken away from a birth mother that still wants them. The media portrays adoption in different ways, and I can only speak from my experience and from what I hear other people say as well. And that is, it's not necessarily going to be plain sailing. And the reason for that is adoption, in a way, should never have to happen, should it? So, in an ideal world, children would stay with their families, they wouldn't need to be taken away, and it would never need to happen. So, it's a difficult subject for a lot of people. And whilst as adopters we think that we're doing an amazing thing, it's still a difficult subject for a lot of people. And therefore, people's perception of adoption and what it's like, and what you see on the media and what it's like could be two different things. So, first of all, let me just check that I can be seen on my live, and then we'll talk about what maybe burnout looks like and how I would describe it, because I think I can speak from experience in that respect. I definitely feel like I've had it more than once before. So that's why I want to explore it with you guys. So let me just check, first of all, that we are okay, not alive. I'm not worried what people I have in here, because if you're watching it on a replay, you'll get the benefit of what I have to say, I hope, anyway. So let's have a look on the channel. I've got a nice advert there. And yes, I am live. That's good. Okay, brilliant. Now that I know that, I'm quite happy because I'm staring at a blank space. Okay, so what does burnout look like to me? So I've had burnout in more than one time. I had burnout way before I had adopted children, when I was working too hard with my business. But burnout for me feels like you cannot stop. Okay, so like you're busy doing things all the time, but you feel like you're moving on to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing too quickly. You can't slow yourself down. That's one thing it feels like to me. Another thing it feels like to me is either being overly sensitive and irritable with people, or almost shutting down and not wanting to communicate with people at all. That's another way that I would say that looks like to me. Another way that it looks like to me is getting lots of illnesses, especially when you stop. So that scenario when you're keeping on going, and then when you stop, you become ill immediately. And that used to happen when I was at work years ago. So I'd work really hard all week, And then at the weekend, I could never get out of bed on Saturday morning because I'd have like a really thick headache. That's another thing that burnout feels like to me. What else does it feel like? It could feel like low mood, although sometimes that's not the most obvious thing. I think anxiety would be a bigger thing for me anyway. Like that feeling of like feeling anxious or something's going to happen, that feeling of nervousness and sort of fear and that type of thing. So that's how burnout can feel as well. When I'm talking about burnout, some professionals call it secondary trauma. And the reason why they call it that is because when you adopt or you foster, or you're dealing with a child that's suffering from trauma, you go through a lot of things with them and you feel a lot of things with them. So, because you become more and more invested in the child and how they feel and what they're going through and what they've gone through, you start to feel some of those things as well. So you start to feel the rejection that they felt. You start to feel the sadness that they felt. You want to overcompensate for that. So if they are struggling with certain things, you want to be there for them and you want to do it for them. And so in the process of doing all these things for the child, you are forgetting about the things that you need as an adult, as a human being. And that's okay for the first week, first couple of weeks when the child comes. Let me just have my drink. But it's not going to be okay if you do that for 6 months solid. And during the 6 months solid, you are constantly worrying about whether the child has what they need and whether they're okay. And so, over a process of time, you forget about you never had any time with your partner. You never had time to sit down properly for a meal. You are rushing from one appointment to another because in the early days for adoption, lots of appointments, lots of meetings. Same for foster carers. So you're rushing from one thing to another thing. And I guess parenthood is like that. You know, I've had 5 children before I adopted. So parenthood is like that anyway. Rushing around, trying to make a living, trying to keep the household going, yes. But if you throw into the mix the emotional side of what you have to deal with when you learn about some of the child's history, when you see some of the developmental issues and stuff like that, you want to throw that into the mix, then of course you are going to have that extra dimension, which is where the burnout starts to happen. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so take a breather. That's what it can look like. So that's what it looks like. But then how do you start to recognize that you have it? How are you going to stop and say, okay, I might have this. How do I know if I have it? And if I have it, how do I know if I need help? How bad is it? So, my only advice to you would be the way that I would see it is how are people around you responding to you? Are they seeing a difference in you? So, have you stopped having a sense of humor? Have you started crying a lot about things or going to bed super early because you can't cope or getting snappy? Or just being lethargic? Are you feeling unwell? Are you having lots of headaches? Are you making lots of mistakes? I remember having a little girl when we were fostering who was so intense, like everywhere we went, everything we did, intense, intense, intense. And the level of chat was just intense, intense, intense. And I made so many mistakes when I was driving. Went through the red lights, nearly crashed a car because she was chat, 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 chat. And I was exhausted because she had me up at night. So I was making mistakes with that. Things like when you're pregnant, you tend to put saucepans in a fridge and milk so on the cooker. Well, when you get burnout and you're starting to lose grip of reality, you might find yourself doing weird things around the house, putting things in strange places. Is it getting more intense than that and you're having like very vivid dreams at night and very restless sleep, or the other way, going into like really, really, really heavy sleep? So I would have thought that those around you would be able to see in you a change. So if you think that you might be suffering from burnout, then to me, the best thing to do is to ask the people closest to you how they think that you're doing. And if those people care enough about you, then they're probably going to say, I think you're very, very tired, or I think you are struggling. And then, of course, that's when you need to think about what help you need. Now, this is where it gets difficult, because asking for help when you're an adopter or a foster carer is really, really hard, because asking for help looks like defeat. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes when you ask for help, people start panicking then that you're not going to cope, rather than giving you the support that you need. There's always ways of saying things. I mean, if you feel that you're suffering from burnout and you need that break, there might be people around you who can help you to do that. Oh, hi. Hi, Lisa. Oh, oh my goodness, Lisa, that's really hard. Oh, really? Yeah, that's often the case, isn't it? I know when we used to hand children over for adoption, well, when I say often, we didn't have that many that we did it for. Then it was always quick. It was like, right, you need to hand over. Yeah. I mean, say what you want in the chat, Lisa. Just remember that people can read it, so don't give away any like details. But I'm happy for you to put more in there if you want to. Yeah. So, are you a subscriber, Lisa? I can't remember whether I did a subscriber, whether it's a subscriber live, or whether this is just general public or not. Whether you've just found me, or whether you're a subscriber. Oh, you are. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so. Are you going to be able to keep in touch with them, or by letterbox, or are you going to be able to visit, or not, do you think? Let me know. So, yeah, I'll keep an eye on the chat, but I'll keep chatting about burnout. Yes, hopefully those around you will see in you that you need the support and the help. And so asking for it is going to be difficult. The court advised in-person post adoption contact. So, oh, so you are going to get to see them then. You are going to get to see them. That's good. That's good. We were never, because I could go off on a tangent here, because the boys' connection with their family was not positive. Oh, okay, Lisa. Okay. So all I would say, Lisa, to you, if I want to give you a bit of hope then, if that's the case, and the court do determine that you're an important part of their lives. And from my perspective as an adopter, where there's a positive connection there and positive relationship, then if I was an adopter, I would want to foster that. I would want to keep that going. So yes, not all the time, because it could be very unsettling for the children, but I would want to set up, regular contact with you, with the children, if I was the adopter. So I think as long as you stay positive and calm about it, even though I'm sure you're not, then, hopefully you can build a relationship. Okay. You're saying goodbye. Yes. But it sounds like you're not saying goodbye as in never see them again. Okay. That's good though, because, children grow up. They grow up. And children are very curious about their roots. They're very curious about their roots. And my boys are now teenagers. So our situation is different, because there's nothing positive there. There's nothing positive with the family there. So, but they'll still want to know their roots later. Well, they often don't contact Lisa, to be fair. They often don't. So I think from your point of view, I think try to maintain positivity. Try to maybe have letterbox in between as well. So if you're only allowed to see them once a year, that doesn't stop you hopefully sending letters 2 or 3 times a year, letting the children know all the things that you're up to and keep it like really positive. So our boys have got letters from their maternal grandparents stored away, and they have, most of them they've read. They don't always find that easy because of this family situation with them. So they don't find it easy, but they know a lot about that family. So even though it's going to be heartbreaking, there's two positive things to say. One is keep as regular contact as you can and keep it positive. And the second thing is they do grow up. Children grow up and then they want to find out their roots. They want to find out more. And providing there's been no sort of, what's the word I'm looking for, agitation between the adopters and yourself, there's absolutely no reason why you can't then have a bit more of a relationship with them when they're over a certain age. That's the way I would look at it. So getting back to asking for help when you've got burnout. Sometimes the reason why it's difficult to ask for help is because social workers might panic a little bit if they think that you're not coping. So sometimes it's the way that you're going to ask for help. So the obvious way to ask for help, first of all, is people that you know and love. And the obvious things to do is to take a break. Okay. Now, how many times I say this and how hard I find it myself, even if that break is just a few hours to get away and to do something different with somebody. Okay. It could just be that you're going for a brief shop somewhere and, you're going to just get out for the day. Now, that sounds like the smallest little thing to do. But if you are really suffering from burnout, a cup of coffee with a friend is a big deal. So just your network around you to support you, particularly if the child that you're adopting is extremely challenging. Okay, so that's not the case for everybody. It's the case for us. Okay, so I just want to put it out there. I know that's not the case for everyone. Not all adopted children have massive issues and problems, but still, you will possibly suffer from burnout at some point. So look at your network. Oh, it's fine, Lisa. Stay on, stay on. We can talk a bit more later. I'll go through the few things that I'm talking about, but I'm more than happy to come back to your scenario. So hang on in there and we can talk a bit more in a minute. And I'll try and give you a little bit more information about my situation so you can get a feel. And other situations that I've seen, not just mine with the boys, but we've fostered and we've adopted children out. So other situations that I've seen, and hopefully that will help you. Where was I going? Yeah, so, but you're not interrupting me, it's fine. It's just when people watch on the playback, they'll be watching for information about burnout as well. So that's that. Okay, but say that you can't, there is no network, there is nobody that you can really call on, and you do think that you're really, really struggling, then I would go to the GP, I think. You could talk to the social worker, and if you're a foster carer, you will know that there is possible respite out there, and some foster carers don't like to do that, but you're trying to preserve your energy, your strength to do the best you can for your children, and that's the same as an adopter, right? Every family has moments of crisis and breakdown and illness and things that they struggle with. And every family at times will be like, who can I call on? Who is out there? I'm really, really struggling. So it's no different for parents that adopt. It's, you're parenting. So if you were finding that actually it was all getting too much and you were feeling yourself going downhill, then I definitely say go to the GP and have a chat. If you think that the social worker, if a social worker is still on board with you, is still supporting you, then think about how you're going to say it. Okay? Think about how you're going to say it. Don't come at them in a big rush and start complaining about everything that's going on in your life and, everything is wrong. And because that is the trauma that you're experiencing talking. And I know that when I was a foster carer and we were dealing with the highest band of difficulty children, we used to go to these group meetings, and honestly, you would sit there and think, nobody said a positive word. No one. And it sounded to the social workers like, do these people really want to do these jobs? But it wasn't that. The children were so intense and so difficult that everything then used to come out in these meetings, but it always used to sound so negative. So you want to, when you're trying to seek help, you want to be balanced. You want to be saying, this is going really well with the child, and I'm really enjoying this and I'm enjoying that. However, I'm struggling because they don't give me any sleep, or because, we're getting lots of anger outbursts. Is there anything for me out there? Is there any therapy for the child? Is there anything I can tap into? Are there any clubs? Just, put it out there and see what you can, get help with. Because the biggest issue with all of this, and even sort of Lisa discussing with me as well about what she's going through right now, is that there is so little help out there to deal with the emotional breakdown that happens either when you're on Lisa's side of the fence, when children go and you're part of the original family, or if you're a foster carer and children go and you've built a bond with them and they're moving on. Because these children move on, they move from birth family, they move from foster care into another family, then they're with you and you're seen as the all singing, all dancing answer to everything that's gone wrong in their lives. Okay, but you can't be. So obviously, at some point, you are going to need help as well, because you are just part of the chain of events that's happened to those children that in an ideal, perfect world shouldn't have had to happen, because this is the issue around adoption. Whilst adopters feel they're doing a positive thing, in an ideal world, no child would have to go out and be adopted. Yeah, because in an ideal world, they'd be able to stay in their families or in extended families, but we're not living in that world. So there is pain, sadness, emotional discomfort. And as an adoptee, you could still be on the end of that. Even though you're doing a positive thing, you could still be on the end of that. And so asking for help is not defeat. Asking for help is probably reality of what most of us should do a lot earlier, but we don't do it because we want to seem to be like the best thing and coping and doing well on everything. So Lisa, you can ask me another question if you like. I'm just going to show the peeps some ideas. So I'm going to move on now to positivity. Okay, so that's all quite negative in a way, but I since I've been an adopter and since I had a few health issues, I have found things that I find helpful for burnout. So I make things, okay. So I make something called junk journals, which is made out of old envelopes, made out of old junk, made to look beautiful, okay. So these little booklets that I make really nice gifts. They can be memory keepers, so that if you have an adopted child, you record some nice little things that happen either every day or every month, or those wow moments. It could be that, you don't see a lot of progress with the bonding with the child. There's going to be some ads here. And sometimes you need to reflect on, well, what positive things can I look for, and try to turn the situation upside down and say, okay, what positive thing can I do to get out of this? So these little books that I make, they can be used for new adoptions. They can be used for recording like memories and keepsake things. I know I've got an ad running along here. Let me have a look what you're saying. So you've had no contact from SW. The eldest granddaughter is 4.5 and we're extremely bonded. I don't know if she knows what's happening and what I should say to her. I want to minimise any distress that she might have. Okay. So Lisa, so in a minute, guys, I'm going to show you some of these things I make, and they are going to be brilliant. They're brilliant for sending to a child, Lisa, but they're brilliant for recording some really nice things. They're also brilliant for new adopters that maybe you don't even know the name of the child yet. It's because when you go out and look for baby keepsake things for an adopter, it doesn't make any sense what you have. So I'll show you that in a minute. So I would say, Lisa, I mean, I don't know your situation entirely, don't know your social worker. If it was me, I'd ask for a meeting with a social worker and say, look, I know that I'm saying goodbye. I know that I don't want to cause any distress, but I would really like to talk with you about how I can move forward. And I'd like to talk to you about how I can get some support. That's what I would do. And you're putting the ball back in her court. She has to think about the fact that you are saying, emotionally, I'm not going to cope with this. I want some help. And how is it going to move forward? So how can I keep in contact with my granddaughter so that she knows I still love her and that I haven't just disappeared off the face of the earth, but that I don't distress her and I give her a chance to bond with her new family? That's what I would do. I would go and ask for some help. And if that social worker can't do it, I would ask for, like, they have family workers and things which take on the sort of under level of what support workers do. So I would say, if you don't have any ideas, can I meet with a family worker? Can I meet with someone who can help me and give me some counselling through this and give me some ideas about how I'm going to do this, and see where you get to. Well, yeah. Keep going. Don't give up. Ring duty. Just try to get hold of someone that can help you. Try and see if there's a family worker or something. Someone out there somewhere will pick it up for you, but you'd have to be persistent because social workers are just so overloaded, especially children's ones. So you could be like number 100 email. I mean, you might not be, but yeah, don't give up. Don't give up on it because your needs are important to move forward. So yeah, don't give up on it. All right, so let me just show you them, these ideas that I have. Okay, so this is made out of, it's got my grandson's, I've got my grandson's graduation, dedication coming up. Okay, so this is for my grandson. But if you can imagine, this could be for any child that you want it to be for. Or, and I'm going to show you a bigger one in a minute, that could be more for you. So we're talking about things to do with the child and for the child. So it could be a new adoption and you want to have this sort of thing to start off with. Or it could be that you want to celebrate some of the positivity about the progress the child has made. Or in your case, Lisa, it doesn't have to be something like this. It could be a scrapbook or anything. You put together some memories that you have of when they were younger and keep it, or ask the social worker if you can send stuff. Whatever you want, you can ask, as long as you don't make it too emotionally charged. Then there's no reason why a social worker can't pass nice little things on and things for birthdays and stuff like that. So this is his little thing here, and all this is made out of envelopes. And inside, so I can basically, what I'm saying, I can custom make these. Okay, I can custom make and these things. You can find the link to my Etsy shop in the description, and you can find that this one is on there and it says made to order, so you can make it to order and customize. So in here there's little places to put photographs. I won't try not to show you too much of my grandson. There's tags where you write on the back, so it's kind of like lots of nice little secret pockets and things, places in there. And yeah, some more tags in there. So this is just a little tiny little keepsake in the pockets. All right, and you could have whatever theme you wanted. This has got lots of bears and wildlife in it, and this is an actual vintage book plonked in there, but You could have whatever theme. I can't do things like modern themes, so I don't think I could do something like Paw Patrol because I can't make it look vintage like, which is basically what I do, right? So that is a little envelope junk journal. Now, just say that you wanted something a bit more, was going to last for a lot longer, and you wanted to have a gift for someone. This is a bigger beast, okay? So this is going to be for my unborn grandson, okay? But again, if you're thinking about in terms of adoption, you're thinking about in terms of memory keeping, you're thinking about in terms of positivity. So either gift giving, memory keeping, positivity, journaling for yourself. Okay, I know this is Peter Rabbit, but this is just my children's examples. I make junk journals which are sea themed or are steampunk. I don't know if you know what steampunk is. So this is made out of, so these pages are being sewn in by me. So they've got what you call signatures in there. And you can customize, you can request what you want. Obviously, these are a lot more expensive than the little ones. And then inside, you can sort of take your time. It's either something you're going to give to a new adopter, or you're the new adopter, or you just want something nice for yourself to journal in and to start sort of being a bit therapeutically minded, because obviously we're talking about burnout here. So it could be something for the child, or if it wasn't a child's theme, it could be something. I mean, this is a child's theme, obviously a child's theme. It's got little doors and stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm not going to show you all inside because I've just remembered that I haven't done a flip through for my granddaughter yet. Not my granddaughter, my daughter-in-law. So I won't show you all because I need to do a full video for her because she hasn't seen it yet. And then obviously my grandson's name is going to go on there. So just a couple of ideas for you. But that's me just showing off what I do because I sell them. But let's get back to brass tacks. Basically, what I'm trying to encourage you to do is to take time out if you are struggling. Okay, so Lisa's situation, she's struggling that a child is moving on from her granddaughter is moving on, and she's got to find a way of coping with that. You might be an adopter that's actually struggling a lot more than what you thought you were going to, or foster carer that's struggling to let go. I've done that with children who I have adored, and they've had to go for adoption, and it's been really, really hard. People don't understand how hard it is for a foster carer to let go and move a child onto adoption. So all of those things, adoption, foster caring, all of the subjects around it are very emotionally charged. So you need to find things which help you therapeutically. Now, I think journaling, okay, so this is junk journals, yeah, I make them, but I think journaling and trying to stay positive every day, trying to write something to help yourself or something positive about the child is a really good way of helping yourself therapeutically. But also to recognize in yourself when you really are unwell and you need help. So, my encouragement for Lisa is don't allow this distress to be yours only. I think the fact that the social worker hasn't responded is wrong, but she's probably like completely overloaded. So keep going until you find the help to support you, because you think about how enormous it is for what Lisa's going to go through. Think about how enormous it is for just receiving an adopted child in and thinking maybe all these years you've not been able to have a child, or you've waited for this child, and now suddenly you have a child and you have to parent them, and they've come from a family. They've come from a birth family, or they've come from a foster carer. So they've had all this change, and now they have to adapt to you, and they will have issues and they will have problems, and you will have lots and lots of difficulties trying to balance out how you feel about that. Yeah, because You might well feel very sad for the birth family. You might feel sad for the foster family. You might feel quite scared to start with when that child comes, and it might not be easy for you. But when you look back, I mean, obviously we've had the boys for many, many years. Okay, so we still have lots and lots of difficulties with them. I went to stay with my mum for a while because she had an operation, and I went and stayed with her. It was fine. It was fine. And when I came back and I heard the normal kind of like huffing and puffing and complaining and a bit of shouting and all, so I've actually quite missed it. I've actually missed it. And then when I think back to what the boys were like when they first came to us and how neglected they've been and how many issues and problems they had, and yes, of course, we still have them, but when I think about how well they are doing in proportion to how well they may have been doing, I've got to celebrate those successes. I can't be looking at everything that we're struggling with. I have to find the positive. And that's what this video is all about. Find the positive wherever you can. Try to get the help wherever you can. And don't be afraid to do that. So I'm open now to more chat, Lisa, if you want to. Feel free. It depends how much you want to say. I know there's a couple of people here. I'm more than happy to chat about just any subject at all. Okay, anything at all now to do with adoption, fostering, birth family situation. Feel free. I'll hang back for a bit and let you ask those questions while I drink some water. All right, I'll just hold on and see if anybody's got anything they want to ask. Also, there's only a few of you here, but any video ideas, again, more than happy to jot those down from the live if you'd like to ask for anything. Whilst I'm here as well, I need to, I don't need to, but I'd like to draw your attention to, there is a shop with some nice products in the shop. They don't have my logo on them because my logo is not that exciting. They do have my artwork on them, my sort of like digital artwork on them. So have a checkout of the shop and also the checkout of memberships. So with memberships, I do videos just for the members. And what I do is I say a little bit more about what's going on in my family, because I feel like because there's less people, I can share a little bit more intimately what's going on in my family. And I also ask them for their own email. I'm thinking emails, Lisa. I also ask them for their own video choices as well. So members do get a little bit more out of me as well. So check that out. So I'm just going to hold on a bit longer just to see if anybody's got anything they want to ask. Anything. Okay. No question is silly at all. No question is silly. I don't think anybody is going to. Welcome, welcome. We're nearly at the end of the live, but I'm opening it up to any questions, any Q&A on adoption, fostering, childhood trauma, anything at all, or any video requests for the future on the channel. It's all open for grabs. I've mentioned the shop. There is a new shop on the merch shelf, and there is membership. I'm going to give it 2 minutes. And if another question comes up, that's great, we'll go with it. If not, then I'm over and out. I'm ready with a pencil though. If I've got a pencil, that's very important. I can write things down. What will probably happen is I'll come off live and the questions will all come under the live. Not on the live, but after the live. Which is fine. Hello, Ginny. How are you? Are you all right? I'm open for questions now, Ginny. I don't know if you were here to see like the junk journals that I've made, which was kind of like the positivity side of reflecting and journaling on how well the children actually, some of the good things the children might be doing, but also their lovely adoption gifts as well. So it's always difficult to buy adoption recording gifts. And these can be customized with the name and whatever you want on them, really. So I don't know if you were there to see that or not. I think there are a few more of you now, but yeah, let me know if you've got any questions on absolutely anything, or if you want to see the journals that I'm talking about. Or if you're just saying thanks because you're just being nice to me, Ginny. Let me know. I don't want to go, just in case anybody's got anything, because also I spend the whole time just talking about a theme, because when people watch the live back, then they get the benefit of hearing something like a video, but then you guys get the benefit of chatting to me if you want to, because I'm still here drinking my water. I'd rather it was coffee, but it's cold. Just going a bit longer, just in case you're thinking, just in case those cogs are turning. I thought that this was the book that I'd written previous video ideas in, but I think that if actually, I think from the previous live, I've actually done all the videos that were requested. No, nothing else. Right, I'll say bye for now and I'll see you next time. Thank you for supporting my channel. Thank you, because you're all subscribers if you're here. Lisa, good luck for the future. Keep in touch. All right? Okay, bye. How do I end it, everybody? There we go.